afternoon, good evening from wherever you join us today. This is the last Storyteller session for Teal Around the World 2022. And as always, this session is being recorded. So in case you don't want to be on the recording, switch off your camera now. We're excited to have Vanessa Rueber with us. So Vanessa works for Patagonia, and she's actually joining us today from Andermatt, where she's on a campaign with the Worn Wear Repair Tour. So I'm super excited to hear a bit more about that in a second. So Vanessa will share with us for around 20 minutes. And after that, we can have a conversation in this room. You can put your questions in the chat, and then we can deep dive a bit more in the topic. And I would say, Vanessa, the stage is yours. And I think we're all excited to hear what you're going to share with us.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So yeah, it's a bit of a stress because I'm sitting in Andermatt. Actually found a place inside because the only place we have inside is our little tiny house, our little repair vehicle. So I'm just across the street, and I apologize in advance because people might come looking for me because we're a small team because of COVID. So I'm the one that pretty much knows all the repairs, but I'm hoping that they are okay. Anyhow, so I've prepared a little presentation to share Patagonia's story and how we go about what we do. I'm just going to share my screen. And this is my other thing that Caroline knows, is I have a brand new computer because yesterday it all crashed. So you just have to work with me while I figure everything out in the new world.
I take your time. I think it's so refreshing to actually have someone sharing with us who is not, in the fancy office sharing us what their companies do, but actually being out there on the ground working. And thank you so much, Vanessa, for taking time. I know you have so much going on. So thank you so much.
Okay, so everyone can see my screen. We're all good? Okay, so yeah, so I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor that you asked me, Tim and Caroline, to come, and I'll try and go through a little bit what Patagonia does. I mean, it's a big machine, and every day is new sometimes, so we have new information all the time. But I'll give you a little recap of what we do and how we do it. So welcome. So this is, as you see, this is Pass It Along, and my story about working for a purpose-driven company. And the theme of Pass It Along is, this is our European interpretation of what Pass It Along means. So it's 3 words. We took these 3 words, pass it along, and we made an illustration. And you can look at this picture, and it's all about protecting nature and therefore passing along nature and the wonderful sports we can do in nature to the next generations. This then becomes a full circle. I thought, like, I picked this image as the beginning because I thought it was a nice way to show you what we do, what everything in Patagonia encircles and what we touch. What an incredible brand. So look at it for a moment, and do you see nature? Do you see activism in this photo? Do you see love? And I hope, especially today, do you see peace? So we are a brand that does so much in very little time. Over the course of the past year, we have strengthened our community and saved our common home. How do we do this? What motivates us? And what is our best moments? I have worked for Patagonia for the past 7 years. The company will be entering its 50th year next year. When Yvon Chouinard started the company all those years ago, I don't think it was his plan to continue to be making clothing so many years later. However, making clothing is a means to do good, as you will learn in the coming minutes. At Patagonia, we appreciate that all life on Earth is under threat of extinction. We aim to use the resources we have, our business, our investments, our voice, and our imaginations to do something about it. Staying true to our core values during 40+ years in business has helped us create a company we're proud to run and work for. To stay in business for at least 40 more, we must defend the places we all call home. And we are a business focused on quality products for human-powered outdoor sports and their communities. We will work at the intersection of sport, environmental activism, and social justice. By doing so, we will set the standards for operating as a responsible business and activist company. Our values reflect those of a business started by a band of climbers and surfers and the minimalist style they promoted. Our product is designed demonstrates a bias for simplicity and utility. Within our values are build the best product. We want to make sure that the product rests on function, repairability, and durability. And I think we're proving that today while we're repairing lots of product. Making the best product matters to save our home planet. Cause no unnecessary harm. Our business activity, from lighting stores to dyeing shirts, is part of the problem. We are constantly searching to change our business practices and share what we've learned. This is not enough. We seek not only to do less harm, but more good. Use business to protect nature. The challenges we face as a society require leadership. We identify the problem and we act. We embrace risk and act to protect and restore the stability, integrity, and beauty of the web of life. And last, we are not bound by convention. Our success and our fun lies in developing new ways to do things. All of this comes together and makes up our mission statement, which is what you see here on the screen. We are in business to save our home planet. What a mission. This puts more emphasis on the overall impact that our products and our business models have on the world. We look beyond the comfort of the outdoor clothing. Patagonia is foremost about quality. We are famous for marketing some of the most durable yet affordable clothing gear for all types of weather. How do we do our mission statement? How do we follow it? So we created a toolbox, and we want to set the standard for operating as a responsible business and activist company. We use our toolbox as a responsible business to achieve our goal to save our home planet. We have 2 boxes with several pillars, as you can see. Our impact priorities as an activist company, we will focus on areas where we are uniquely qualified to have an outsized impact in saving our home planet. These are 4 boxes. Climate solution is on the top, where we want to reduce our own emissions and advance nature-based solutions, and at the same time support a just transition to clean energy economy. The agriculture transformation, we have been pushing to transform from toxic conventional agriculture to regenerative organic agriculture. Healthy lands and water, we need to protect and restore lands and waters through community-led efforts. And also what's super important for us is thriving communities. We want to make sure that we create an equitable and just workplace and outdoor community while championing environmental justice and civic engagement. As a responsible business, we will grow responsibly, following the natural demand from our community of outdoor activists and by crafting products that have a positive impact in our work to save the home planet. Here again, we have 4 pillars. To make sure we have guidelines, we have innovation. We want to innovate across the business to drive responsible and sustainable solutions to engaging and persistent issues. Culture, evolve our culture to ensure we not only survive, but thrive. Global, act locally, but network globally. Digital, we need to digitize to connect with and activate our community. At Patagonia, we look after our workers. We have core values that hold strong, and these values reflect those of a business started by a band of climbers and surfers, and the minimalist style they promoted. The approach that Patagonia takes toward product doesn't demonstrate a bias for simplicity and utility. We are a proud B Corp member. For decades, Patagonia has demonstrated that caring for our people and our planet is not in conflict with running a successful business. We have embedded our core values into Patagonia's foundation forever. We have done this through different certifications or labels such as Fair Trade. We offer more fair trade products than any other brand. Fair trade is our first step in the path toward ensuring living wages in our supply chain. We do not own any of the factories that make our products, so we have limited control over how much workers receive. Through fair trade, we can provide workers with tangible benefits that improve their lives. The extra money goes directly to workers at the factory, and they decide how to spend it, whether it be for healthcare programs or a childcare center or take home a bonus. These are many different ways they can choose to use it. Our RO certification. These are new innovating agriculture standards that take consideration of the needs of workers as part of the certification process. Our Blue Sign standard. This certification offers the highest level of consumer safety in how they are made, which will minimize impacts on people and the environment. Our ironclad guarantee. If you are not satisfied with one of our products at the time you receive it, or if one of our products does not perform to your satisfaction, return it or repair it, replacement or refund. 1% for the planet. This is super important, and I think it's one of the most important parts that we do. This alliance of businesses, individuals, and environmental nonprofit understands the necessity of protecting the natural environment, and the profits and the loss are directly linked to its health. 1% was founded by Yvon Chouinard in 2002. Since then, 1% have donated more than $200 million. We have an environmental grants program where we formalized our support of environmental activism by committing 10% of our pre-tax profits to grassroots environmental groups. Later, we increased that to at least 1% of sales annually. As a company that uses resources and produces waste, we recognize our impact on the environment and feel a responsibility to give back. We give at the grassroots level to innovative groups mobilizing the communities to take action. Since we have started in 1985, we have given more than 100 million to thousands of organizations. On top of the 1% for the planet to help our NGOs to make it possible for the Patagonia community, we get involved. We created Patagonia Action Works. This is an online tool that the community can get involved with and support environmental organizations in a local area and based on the issues they care about. They can have an opportunity to meaningfully engage in the grassroots movement to save our home planet. And our grantees are able to reach a larger audience and build capacity. And here I am. So I'm talking to you about wornwear exactly today when I'm sitting doing it on the ground. So wornwear is the most important solution to the global apparel industry's massive CO2 and waste program. The best way to reduce the environmental and carbon footprint, which is constantly growing for clothing, is to keep them in play longer, by you or by someone else. That is why, as a company that sells clothes, we encourage less buying and more repair and reuse. Our wornwear program, one of the most responsible things we can do as a company, is to make high quality products that last for years and can be repaired. So you don't have to buy more of them. This program celebrates the stories we wear, keeps your gear in action longer, and provides an easy way to recycle Patagonia garments when they're beyond repair. We have been repairing clothing since the 70s. Wornwear started in 2005 as a blog about the stories we wear and has since evolved. Wornwear includes repair centers. We have 72 global repair centers where we fixed more than 65,000 pieces in 2019. We have repair tours. The wornwear team goes on the road with repair techs who fix products, regardless of the brand. And we teach customers how to repair and take care of their gear. And we've also started Recrafted in the US, where we take old product and make it into a beautiful newly piece by upcycling it. And there it's beyond repair. So actually, just on a side note, since you're all in Switzerland, we are here in Andermatt until Sunday night repairing. There's Faction who's with me doing sustainable wax on your skis. And we've got Protect Our Winters standing beside us talking about climate change and how better to get to the mountains. So we've made our own little community on the base of Gemstock, and it's pretty popular this morning. So you're welcome to come by and see us. We'll be here till Sunday night. So not only do we do all these things behind the scene, but we actually do make product. And I think in a lot of the presentations, we forget to talk about Patagonia in the end does make product, but we do product in a different way. As you can see here, we portray our clothing and we are constantly showing the campaign by talking about the materials we use and where it comes from and what we stand for. So it's kind of what we call product activism. So we want to make sure that it's not just marketing. We want to make it a turning product marketing on its head. Traditional product marketing work aims to identify a customer's need or want and fill the right product at the right cost and deliver it to the customer at the right time so they buy it. We want to still get the mechanics right of building products that people need at a cost that makes sense for people on the planet, but ultimately that helps redefining the relationship that they have with things. So product activism is using product as a tool to change consumer behavior and turn consumers into conscious citizens. We're also super heavy into sport activism, community activism. We want to empower and build thriving communities by highlighting the knowledge and experience of our global people, our global communities. This means stories from elders, from young people, and voices we haven't heard from. Stories that elevate the transfer of knowledge between and across communities and generations. This theme can show up in culture, activism, and sport. The stories that we portray, we are grounded in our core values and come from a global perspective. We have put together 2 stories in the past 18 months. Vanishing Lines, so two POW ambassadors who were avid skiers in Austria have been activating their community against building a ski resort expansion in Austria on the Ötztal and Pitztal glaciers. And we've been traveling around Switzerland using that as a story to make communities aware what's even happening in local communities and local areas in Switzerland. And the other movie we made was Run to the Source on the right side of your screen. That is Martin Johnson. And he ran 300 kilometers along the Thames, broke the record. And he talks about what it's like to be a Black runner in the outdoor space. Another film we did on justice, social justice, is They, Them. And this was a film about Laura, who talks about their transition to non-binary and how to play in the outdoor space. There are so many other stories in film that we've done, but these are just some that we've done in the past 18 months. We also use our voice to make sure that we talk about the environment. It's really close to our heart. We have run many big campaigns in the past 7 years that I've been working at Patagonia. It is incredible the passion behind the ENVIRO campaigns and how it becomes a movement. We spend more time talking about these campaigns than product, some of the bigger campaigns. So Save the Blue Heart has been going on for the past 6 years, where we have been working with NGOs in the Balkans to stop the construction of 3,000 dams in this area, particularly to not let any dams get built along the Vjosa. Ryan Gellert, our CEO, came over in November to meet with the Prime Minister, Edi Rama, to discuss buying the land around the Vjosa to make sure that it is preserved and protected. We bring expertise and resource to take over this land, and in the acquisition of it, if we can pull off buying land in Albania, we feel that this is a step to be able to do it more in more difficult areas. We the power. So this is during COVID, we launched a campaign talking about We the Power, which is a campaign to inspire people to join, invest, or build their own community energy project. Our goal is to have people transition to renewable energy. We have been working with different energy companies, universities, NGOs to push this campaign and build awareness about the importance of energy. I think now more than ever. We have had other campaigns such as Artificial, where we were looking at people, rivers, and the fight for the future of wild fish and the environment that supports them. We explored wild salmon slide towards extinction, threats posed by fish hatcheries and fish farms, and our continued loss of faith in nature. Another campaign that is super important, as I said, was Vanishing Lines. And so this one we've been touring around, and especially now actually being in Andermatt and seeing the construction. And when I came to Andermatt, when I asked to come to Andermatt, they said to me, no, you can't show that film. There's no way. It was the first thing. You can come with OneWare, but no film. And we are staying right near the Radisson Hotel. And when you see the construction, you understand why they don't want the film, and we can't talk about what's going on the sidelines in these resorts. Another amazing part of Patagonia is the spirit that Patagonia takes to build local campaigns and get around their staff and athletes and followers and build campaigns out that hit home. So here you have some campaigns that we addressed much more locally. Save the Dutch Forest, which is happening in Amsterdam, which was run by our staff up there. The UK police bill came from Manchester to stop that we were no longer allowed to protest. The Swiss CO2 Act, which was started up by Nicola Wolkin in Cour. So he pedaled for POW, and this was as well to help with the vote for the CO2 vote in June, which didn't work out. And the Italian ZAN bill, which we did a huge campaign around to talk about making human rights bills happen in Italy. But what we do the best as a staff or as a company is we call out the bullshit. We stand up for these values, and we make sure that we stay strong and continue. This slide comes back to the marketing side of the brand. All this activation and action, what does it create? So obviously at the end, we are growing our community. And not only are we growing it live, but we're growing it online. So that's what's important now as well, is here you can see numbers and KPIs, but it's basically showing you that our community has grown and is continuing to grow because of what we're doing and the actions we speak to. So with these images, it portrays what is Patagonia. It's quiet joy. It is about creativity, curiosity, and collaboration. We at Patagonia are looking to find simplicity and cohesion in our shared vocabulary, align mission and philosophy with the way we create and communicate. We want to focus less on business units and more on community by intersecting activism, sport, and connection to nature. We empower ourselves to appreciate the quiet joy of connectivity, cherished family moments, and inclusion. I'm so sorry. We're here. I'm going to take you to this slide. This slide is about reimagination. So over the past 2 years, we were also doing a whole part where Rose Macario left us, and we had to reimagine our company and reimagine how we were going to continue. So in this slide, it kind of is more of a question to you. What do you see? What do you think about when you see it? And, you know, do you see peace? Do you see movement? Do you see communities? Do you see the environment? All the different questions are there for you to think about. And it's kind of just a stepping stone. We like to draw out first, what, like you saw, the beginning started with a slide about drawings, and here's an ending with our drawings of how we look at communities coming together. And there you have our brand. That's in a quick storytelling kind of way of what is Patagonia, but I can tell you it's a massive machine, and we seem big and we're small at the same time. It's quite incredible what we get done in small little bits of time. I think this morning waking up to an email by Ryan Gellert, our CEO, and talking about what's going on in Ukraine and how in a short amount of time, we haven't come out with a statement yet officially, but in a short amount of time, we are doing stuff with our NGOs. We already have links to Ukraine and Poland, and we will be coming out with a statement tomorrow. And it is incredible how we moved quickly to move people. And even on Monday, I was inspired by one of the NGOs. We work with Campex in Switzerland and Libereco. And overnight, they said on Sunday, they started their campaign. And overnight, they had 7,000 houses already housing 7,000 Ukrainians in Switzerland. So people are moving and acting, and we're having an impact. And I think, I mean, it's a horrible situation. There's climate change, there's war. We just got out of COVID. So how do we go on? But we have to act and do. And I think that's how we will change. People and communities will come together and be stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. What a wonderful story you shared with us. I'm glad that we're this group of people, because this gives us the opportunity not to just you know, ask questions, but really have a proper conversation. And maybe I would like to start off with a statement that you made, Vanessa. You said, we don't want to survive, we want to thrive. Can you maybe share with us how this looks like for people working in this company? So not for you as an organization as such, but what does it mean for every single one showing up for work every day?
I think a lot of the time, like when you say survive, like we don't want to survive, I think we're always, you know, trying to run on the wheel and get everything done as fast as possible. And what we felt, what a lot of the staff have been saying over the past 1-2 years is it's so much last minute, and less is more. Like, why aren't we doing less is more? Why aren't we picking, why are we always trying to get everything done? Pick the best, most impactful stuff and make a difference, and not constantly trying to be, I mean, we've also stated we're trying to be everything for everyone. We can't be that person. We saw there were so many movements that came over the past 2 years, and people, you know, staff, people, our followers were asking us to be everything, and we can't. We have to pick our lane and stick to it and show that's what we're doing. And I think that, yeah, I don't like either that, okay, now we go here, now we go there, now we go there. We have to, we'll thrive if we go right in the right lane and do it well.
Yeah. One more thing before we open up for questions, and please guys don't be shy, is the whole thing about the recycle topic. So we talked about it previously. Recycling always sounds like, well, yeah, I take something old and, you know, I make something new out of it. But when we think about fisher nets and all the chemicals that go in there, how long they have been in the ocean, getting the nets out, you know, putting the things apart, how many steps are involved? And like this, well, where to start?
So what's incredible, so another part of, I mean, I didn't mention everything that we do. We have what's called Tinshed Ventures, which is a company that Yvonne Chouinard started up to help fund a lot of startup companies. And so Borio, which is a product, a fabric that we use, was started by Tinshed Ventures. So they came to us and said, oh, we've got an idea. We're going to use these fisher nets and make clothing. You know, you're like, okay, whatever. And but we give them, you know, we always fund some of these startups. And so Yvonne Chouinard with Tinshed Ventures said, okay, well, we'll fund Borio and see what comes of it. And now we are bringing out a massive campaign starting in April, May, where we're talking about our summer products. So a lot of our shorts, our jackets, they're made with Burio nets. So the nets are actually nets that are found in the ocean, in the seas, that we're pulling out, and we're using those nets to make our product. And a lot of our jackets next winter will be made with Burio. And our campaign, so I told you about our ENVIRO campaigns that we do. Our next big campaign is nature-based solutions, talking about coastals. So oceans, it's kind of under the hub of oceans, but we will be talking about coasts and how we can use nature-based solutions to help secure our coastal lines, because with this, we are hoping to help stop climate change, because the oceans can help a lot by taking in the carbon. And if we can plant back seaweed, we can stop bottom trawling. Yeah, so we're really running this campaign, and I don't know everything because we're still learning, but it's going to be rolled out in August, September.
Love the passion. Seriously, like I can really feel how passionate you are about this topic. Opening up, I have countless questions, but any one of you wants to take the opportunity to ask Vanessa something? All right, still a bit shy. Stefan, is this a time to ask a question?
Okay, it's not really a question, but yeah, maybe it is. I'm just very impressed by the pace of your speech and of all the information you presented. Every little bit is, don't misunderstand me, every little bit is very interesting, and I'd love to hear more about it. But at the same time, it reminded me of a company I was hired by, and where the first workshop was like one person was at the same time in 2 workshops, and everybody was really hyperventilating. And so, how can you survive?
I don't know. We're at a very fast pace. Yeah, it's incredible. The pace is fast. I think Patagonia, I think we have a passion as a staff, especially the marketing team. The staff has been there. I think we're a small team. I'd like to say we're a huge team, but we're a small team. We have a lot of demands and asks. I mean, literally 2 days ago, I was in Zurich in the morning campaigning, doing a campaign workshop with Klima Now people these were people who won a competition to get money. And then in the afternoon, I was in Bern at the Alpines Museum doing the Vanishing Lines event. And today I'm in Andermatt. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. This is what we said as well. I mean, internally we say we need to choose a lane, and we're trying to do too much, but things are coming so fast. And because we work with NGOs, I think working with NGOs creates the demand. It's not even our customers. It's, you want to do good by them. And like, you know, we had NGOs as of last week calling us for Ukraine, and it's, you so badly want to help them all. So you're running on this wheel, and it's a lot. It's
an interesting aspect that you're saying, that this creates demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're, I mean, and we're giving them, yeah, it creates the demand, and we're, yeah, and people, when I do presentations, I always forget about product, because we're actually making product, and that is so not important to us. It's part of the, yeah, for me, I don't even look at the product. I mean, today, obviously, I'm looking at product every day, but it's not even Patagonia. But the product is so secondary to what we're doing. It's more about how can we give to the NGO? How can we talk to these startup companies to find ways to do good? It's much more about that than product. Product campaigns are so behind us. One of the most important windows, and like where I had the fight with our dealers, was doing the CO2 law. We put on the windows of some of the spots in Switzerland, vote now, ride later. And that created a lot of pushback, because they didn't want to talk about politics on their front windows of the stores. But that was, now, you know, you're looking at today, politics today and politics 7 months ago. Well, why didn't we do that? We were fighting for something good there, and now we're fighting for a war. So people are standing up now, and it's interesting how all of a sudden things change so quickly, and you've got to change quickly.
Yeah, agree. And this is where all the product activism comes in, right? I want to say, Kirsten just wrote in the chat how much she appreciates the work that you guys are doing. And maybe Kirsten, if you want, you can also tell her directly. And thanks for being here today. And then we have a question from Andrea.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Vanessa, for sharing a little bit of Patagonia. I can imagine that it's a whole universe, a whole ecosystem to explore. I have to say, I love the pass it along drawings, so many things to explore there. And I was curious to hear about how you as Patagonia, of course, are actually connecting with local communities, because you talked a lot about working with NGOs. I would want to understand, how do you connect with local communities in order to have this sustainable ecosystem and to pass it along to the next generation, actually?
So our communities, so in each country, our dealers are obviously our entry point. So our stores, not just the Patagonia stores, but I actually was going to put a slide in there showing you what our ideal store. Melinda Schweenard always had this image that, you know, a store is supposed to be a gift to the community, and we shouldn't be selling stuff there. We should have it as a space where you can come and learn about renewable energy, and you can learn about farming, and you can learn about workshops, have workshops for different things that you need to do. You can also meet different NGOs, and maybe one day we will have that ideal store. But right now, our stores or our dealers are still a spot where we say that's where we build our communities. So we hope and that the people, the dealers, they're passionate enough about the brand that usually they will talk about what we're up to through the windows, like I said, through the product activism. It's not just normal activism or normal product campaigns. We're talking about how it's made. When the last, you know, in the winter, we just did a backcountry ski product window. In that window, we didn't talk about, you know, where this product, it was more about how do you get up to the mountains. So in the message, it's saying to you, like, how do you get there? You know, it's good to go touring and do the backcountry skiing and use your own motor. So we're still a lot about, you know, we're not about a competitive sport. So our community is also built up of ambassadors and athletes who are not doing competitive sport, who are not talking about, oh, I won this. It's more about, how did we get out there? How did we get outdoors? And how did we talk to nature? And how did we, and I think people still want that. They want to have that moment of peace in nature and touch it. And Patagonia brings that and says, you know, this is what we're saving. And so in our imagery, digital or in store, you can see that and you connect. And then through film, I was saying to Caroline before, every campaign we do, whether it be 5-minute film or an hour film, we try and connect somehow to a local community where that affects them, where they're talking, you know, Save the Balkans was about Save the Blue Heart was about the Balkans, but I can connect that to Switzerland. My backyard, they just built a dam. So you can connect it some way locally again and talk to your community about, look at what's going on in your backyard and fix it.
May I just have a follow-up question? Do you have some figures about local marketing and central marketing? Like, so I understood like you invest a lot of marketing or communication or relationship management on a local space. Is there also a big global one? So is it like a special characteristic of Patagonia that you are different than normal companies, or how would you perceive
it? Well, so we do have, I mean, if you're looking at budgets or so, yeah, we have global marketing. So global marketing is in Ventura, and there we have our own film crew. So we actually have a production team in place and with videographers and directors. And so they are the ones creating the films. We can bring ideas. So on the ground, we look for storytelling. So I had a story last summer about Poschiavio, and I really wanted to bring that story. So we created a box that we kind of gave over and said, you know, here's a story you can talk about. We're always looking for stories, but then it goes globally to find the big imagery. We the Power, so we just did We the Power. That was a European film that came from Amsterdam, and the stories then were brought out locally in the film. And now we continue the campaign by doing podcasts. So we don't start a campaign and end it. The campaign's never over unless all of a sudden we have rivers that are free everywhere. So that campaign is still running. So is We the Power. I mean, until everyone is in renewable energy, it's still an important campaign. So we are still right now working with, like in Switzerland, I'm working with SSES, LASEC, My Blue Planet. So everyone who's talking about renewable energy, I'm continuing to give them a space, either behind the scenes where we help give them some money to do their events or create events. We do actions together. So it's constantly running at local and global.
So I see like you have a lot of global support, professional filmmakers and so on. How is about restrictions? Can you also make quick decisions on a local point, or you need to? So
quick, yeah, I mean, the CO2 that was put together for the CO2, when we saw Protect Our Winters contacted us when the vote had, like when we started voting already in May and said, oh my God, it's turning, like it's going to go no. So what can you do? They came to us really like desperate and said, look, Patagonia, you guys have the means. What are you going to do? And we showed up. We paid behind the scenes for media support. We wrote an article, and NSAID said we were told to go home. I mean, it was basically, they were said, Americans go home. We helped create that, fund that film, Pedal for POW. We did a podcast one evening. We were together with WWF and the Yeah campaign to really give them money. We gave them money to help push forward. And that's why we said as well, okay, what's the last thing? Well, we have windows. We have dealers with windows. Let's put it up on their windows and tell people to vote. And I think the biggest campaign we do is tell people to vote. I mean, in any country, the biggest change we can do is by voting.
Yeah, true.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining. Vanessa, we have been talking a lot about product activism and what amazing campaigns you have. But Patagonia is not just amazing for what the work that they do, but also how you guys are structured internally and how important purpose is. And in this lines, we have a question from Kirsten. So she wants to know what you're doing at Patagonia to identify and enable individuals within your organization to live and breathe your purpose. I know that you have some special programs for mothers, you know, for hobbies. Maybe you can share us a little bit more about this.
We feel we don't have enough, but I think that's every company where you're like, oh, we have lunch talks. So what we do a lot is, especially, it's actually one of the good things that happened with this whole going online is before it was lunch talks that were live in Amsterdam. And so when you're out of Amsterdam, you felt like you're missing out. Whereas now we do online lunch talks. So it's great. You can have people from all over the world come in and talk about, you know, transitioning to be by non-binary. So we learned a lot about non-binary, trans, that whole section. We did lunch talks about environments. We did lunch talks about farming. Usually in the spring, we talk about gardening. We go from activism to photographers who talk about, you know, photography and refugees. We had someone come in and talk about Afghanistan, who set up a whole bike community of women who had never, like, they don't bike there. So this is a way we can learn about other communities, other countries. And then we have programs, yes, for like maternity leave and vacation. And we also, what's amazing with Patagonia is because we work with NGOs, we can take a month off and go and work for one of the NGOs and still be paid for by Patagonia. So we can give, like right now, we just got the email, you know, those who want to go and give their time to humanitarian efforts for Ukraine, then go. It was basically said, you know, go do that. It's accepted and no questions asked. It's quite a machine. But like someone said before, you need to find the time. I don't know when I can have the time to do that. So, because if I leave, I have my inbox is just like, ooh. But it is quite incredible what we can do, and how many people you can touch or inspire to do that. And I think that's good as well. Is maybe I can't do it, but I can inspire people to go and do that.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Sorry I'm not on camera, but I'm with my son and it's pandemonium, but thank you very much for your response.
No problem. Thank you.
I don't know. I feel really good. It's it feels like, I mean, talking to you, Vanessa, is super easy. It's super easy. You live and breathe of what Patagonia is all about. I mean, there is this famous quote from your founder, "Let my people go surfing." And really, you know, people not just work for Patagonia because they, you know, obviously they love the course, but they also love to do sports, right? And to do it in in a sustainable way. What do you do? Just asking, what's your favorite outdoor sport that you do?
So I tour. I live right behind the mountains, so I go up touring. So it's super nice that they accept. I mean, they accept, yeah, let my people go surfing, let my people go skiing, let my people, so I take time to try and ski. I'm not going to say every day, but I like to go up 2-3 times a week, where I just go up and breathe the air and think about, you know, what you can do. In the summer, I bike or I run. But what's interesting is the brand has become so big, and we had discussions like internally where not everyone does sport. And it's everyone thinks, oh, Patagonia, there are all these sporty people. And it's fair to say, or not fair to say, that there's a lot of the employees who are activists, and they are so amazing with the environmental movement. And yeah, part of me wishes I would spend more time with the NGOs, because they're just on fire with the enviro side or politics and reading books and knowing. So I take more time to do my sport, and others will take more time to learn about that side. So we're not all sporty. It's not, you don't have to be into sport to work for Patagonia.
Yeah, and it's about this perfect, bringing it all together, right? So, because at the end of the day, you still want to do perfect, amazing products for your clients, because you want to make sure that it's not being damaged, you know, that it can be used for a very long time. So to balance off between, you know, people who love the sport, people who love the environment, and people just care about making incredible products. I saw Stefan, I think, was that an attempt to ask a question?
I just wanted to say I'm very happy to hear you make some sports, having heard about your workload.
I have to. I have 3 kids. I need to get outside.
Okay. You have to get away.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a question, Frank, but I have one that's dear to my heart. How do you hire people? So you're looking for these special people to make this company unique. Do you have a special way of hiring? Any criteria that you follow? Any process?
I think so. If the HR, there's a big team in Amsterdam, and I mean, our team in Switzerland is small, so we're just slowly growing. We were 3 for a long time. We're now 6. I'm finally getting an intern in a month. I was supposed to have her today, which didn't work out. So hiring is not so simple. They didn't do it well. But the hiring is, what I always say is, it's good if you can volunteer or if you do something for the environment. I think Patagonia looks a lot. It's no longer just, oh, I'm good at this. They want you to have many skills. And the most of the, you know, the main, I think some of the big skills is having something to do with the environment, some kind of project, or I mean, it can be gardening all the way to activism, but something to do where we can find common ground.
Thank you. We have some more love being shared in the chat. So Frank was just writing, Vanessa is really living and breathing what she's talking about, and thank you for your energy. Yeah.
May I also ask a question?
Yeah, please
Okay.
Go ahead. We still have time. Go ahead.
What I counted many products, maybe I would have to pay double price for product that lasts 3 times longer to be usable. And however, I probably buy the other product, right, because half price. Or I wouldn't trust Patagonia. Our product is lasting 3 times longer. Why? You would corrupt your own business, right, or contradict if you make long-lasting products. So actually, I see like marketing, which is sometimes like, okay, nice package, as an essential thing to maybe also change the mindset of the people, that they go for long-lasting products instead of the wegwerf, like throw it to the trash. What is your tricks or strategies there that you get into this business, that people are just doing the right decisions? Because from a rational point of view, it makes sense. Double price, 3 times longer product, right? I mean, but still I observe also myself and also colleagues, it's not always, even if it's the obvious decision, if you think it through, it's not so easy to make these decisions sometimes. Is there any trick or insights you can share?
So our product, we want to be copied. So the goal is that everyone copies us. We're small, like I know everyone thinks we're big, we're a small company. So in the worlds of North Face and Arc'teryx and Columbia, we're small. So our goal is that we do good and be copied. So our campaign that we're coming out with next winter with our Ulex wetsuits is we're not actually telling our consumers to buy Patagonia, we're telling them to buy Ulex. So we want you to buy good. We do a campaign which, like if we don't know what window to put with our dealers, we have a campaign that says something, that tells them to buy fair trade. So instead of buying product like H&M, I'm sorry to say the name, but it's not a product made in H&M where we hear bad stuff happening. We ask you to buy fair trade. So then you're helping people in that area instead of just buying another company. Buy fair. If you don't buy Patagonia, find another brand that's doing fair trade. Buy organic cotton. So that was a long-standing thing with Patagonia, was we made organic cotton t-shirts, and we wanted the big cotton t-shirt makers to copy us. So Yvon Chouinard started the Organic Cotton Coalition in the 80s, and there he had all the big companies in the US join him to talk about, look at this cotton, like cotton is the biggest material that we use, and it's all pesticide, it's destroying the soil. So let's go into organic. And so he inspired a lot of the big companies to switch to organic cotton. Then now the next step is to inspire them into regenerative organic cotton, because now that's even better for the soil. So in most of our way that we talk about our product, it's, we don't need you to buy us. We just need you to buy right and think. And, you know, at the end of the day, we want, like, our next campaign will be, in the 70s, it was, you know, don't buy this jacket. In the coming years, it'll be, don't make this jacket, you know, repair it and reuse it or upcycle it, but don't make it.
It goes in similar lines what Pamela James was sharing yesterday. She has also a very nice clothing line that is done in India, and she says she wants people to you know, just buy maximum 20 items a year, and she says it doesn't matter where, but just less, because it is such a yeah, bad environment and producing clothes. I mean, just to make sure the chain is being done right is so much work and effort you put in there. Exactly, conscious consuming, exactly, Monica. We still have a couple of minutes, you guys. Make the best out of it. Vanessa is giving us her time. Please feel free to use it. Any other questions from you guys? Well, could we then talk a little bit more?
Question, just following up my other question. So, like, it sounds credible what you're talking, right, out of the customer perspective. But how does it work internally? Like, if you have budgeting or something like that, you have two countries. One is still more focusing on sales, and the other one is like such humble and doing good for the world, but then has maybe worse business figures, right? So is there any benchmark internally also that is like preventing you from doing good? I mean, I believe you, right? Still have some doubts on the structure, how you set it up in a way that you really can freely act.
So I'm gonna blow you away. This past week, so we just finished our sell-in for next winter. We're sold out. So we are a company that caps. So you can't. Like, we had dealers, so our customers are our dealers, our stores. So they came in and said, okay, we're so happy. We want to buy 20,000 worth of product for next season. Okay. And we said, no, we can't give you that. We'll give you 10. And they can't even go to their budget because we don't have the product, because we can only make, we have decided how much we're going to make. So we've said, we're going to make 1 billion worth of product. That's it. And we're not going to go above it because people want it. We're only going to make that because we don't need that profit anymore. We don't want to be a constantly growing company. We want to do conscious, and someone said it, conscious consumption. So obviously, yes, we have to make our clothing to do what we do. I mean, and we're a responsible business, so we have to pay our staff, and we have to pay our employees, and we have to pay everyone's counting on us. But we now know what we need to make that work, and the machine works. And so we're going to do with what we have, and we're not going to make more. And even if someone says to us, but I have a client who wants, 2,000 jackets, and I have that. I had a hotel. I want to make the whole hotel. Don't you want me? I said, no, we don't want you. Sorry. And they're shocked. It's a shock when you say no. We're not going to give you 200 jackets.
It is like you need growth and profit, right? And what you're telling is like profit is okay, but the growth, you have a plan, a fixed plan. You don't need to grow, right? Yeah. And still people are happy. Well,
people are obviously other brands might take us over, but again, then hopefully those brands will see what we're doing and be inspired and do good. And that's the goal, is that you know, Yvon Chouinard wants to be copied. So he does everything that we're copied. It's not to say, here's the little recipe and we keep it a secret. It's we're out there telling everyone what we're doing and copy us.
I think now I got it. It's a complete different mindset how you start there, right?
Yeah.
And I would have actually a follow-up question on that, because I love what you said about conscious consuming and the fact that you want to role model as a company, and you know, at the same time, there is a business perspective when it comes to the stakeholders, the investors, and there is this paradigm that if you don't grow and you don't scale up, then you'll not actually manage to resist other market. So then my question would be, how is Patagonia managing to work in this tension between these two paradigms, being sustainable and also having the investors to continue the work?
So here's the incredible part of our brand is we don't have investors. We have one owner.
Excellent.
And he can decide everything and anything at a moment's notice. And that's why Patagonia is a constantly moving machine, because he can tell us, like, we had a film, we were all ready to show it because it's for a campaign coming up in 30 days. And he decided 2 weeks ago, I don't like it, we're not showing it. And so there goes our campaign. So it's yeah, it can be a good and a bad, but we don't have any investors. And the good part is he can also say, we're going to give 200 grand to Ukraine tomorrow, and no one's going to tell him no. And it's quite incredible.
And a huge responsibility, right? To be being the person who does these decisions. Looking at the time, what would you tell other businesses that, you know, say, well, we would love to, but it's so complicated, you know, what would you tell these businesses? What is something that they can do to act small or get it started?
So for me, it's the two in the slides you saw, I talked about B Corp. So if you can do something, become a B Corp, some kind of label that's a way to do good. And that's something that our ENVIRO director said at COP26, is that companies need to be verified, need to be checked. And B Corps is a way that, you know, you're doing good. You know that a company is doing good. If you're a B Corp, you know that it's a circular company. They're doing good for the environment, for their employees, for the people who are buying their product. So it's a good way to do a check. Another, for me and for Patagonia, I think what we preach the most is 1% for the planet. If you can give back to those NGOs who are doing good for us, and we're sitting working, but they're on the ground activating, volunteering, giving their time, that's a big step.
Agree. Stefan.
What's a thing you or the company didn't reach yet?
Didn't
achieve yet.
Oh my God. Everything, all our campaigns we haven't achieved.
I'm sorry.
We haven't.
No, I mean, are there things you wondered how to tackle over a long time and you just don't find ways? Or is it rather that just people come to you and they have so many solutions and you just keep the machine running and you don't have time to reflect about, okay, where else could we engage actually?
I think right now where we struggle as a company, like, because we've been an environmental company for so long and we are known as our environmental activism, what changed what changed it up for us was during COVID, when Black Lives Matter hit and all the discussion about justice, equality, diversity, inclusion, all these discussions and social justice, that's where we were like, wow, we weren't there. And we realized we weren't there as a brand and as a company. We are a white, I mean, if you look inside our doors, we are a white person company. And we are now trying to achieve, to do that, to be good at you know, hiring diverse, talking about social justice. So the film with with MJ was really looking at Black Lives Matter in UK. But I think it's hard. Like I know in Switzerland and in Italy, my colleagues in Italy have been saying it's not the same. Each country is different. So in the US and in Canada, you can talk about it one way, but you can't bring it the same way to Europe. That campaign won't work it won't work in Switzerland. So we have different issues, different problems, and different ways of racism, prejudices in each country in Europe. So it's a hard problem to tackle right now. And we're learning. We've now hired a counselor, like a workshop person, to help us really do workshops on it, to talk about it in Europe, because it's not simple.
Because what you do is product activism. You really go there and want to support customers to take the right decision. And obviously, depending on where your customers live, they need a different kind of input or support to make better
so
decisions.
when you talk about product, like now we're looking at making no longer men's and women's product, we're looking at making unisex product, the colors, we're looking at not having, you know, pink for girls and blue for boys. So we're changing that all up. We're adding sizes to our women's sizes so that a man could wear it, or so we are going to change it up in the product section, that it's more inclusive, because we realize, yeah, we didn't do that. We're not ready for that.
I think you gave Stefan the most amazing answer that you could have given, representing a company, when he asked you, so what campaign have you fulfilled? And you said none of them, because the campaigns that you're running are so big and you're taking on such a huge cause. I mean, climate change. I mean, looking at all the different political parties and countries, and you know, everything that's going on, we need to move in a better direction. We all know that. And I think it's amazing to have a company really saying, well, we do products, we do sell things, but we want to do good. We do that to do good. So I don't know if there's any last question from you. Now is the chance. Other than that, Vanessa, I don't know what to say besides thank you. I think this was so authentic and so energizing. And yeah, I really hope yeah, we keep in touch and hear more. And I really hope next time when Stefan asks you that question, you say, well, we have picked up this, we have done that. But obviously it's nothing that Patagonia can.
No, so Stefan, don't take me wrong. We've little steps, it's baby steps. It is baby steps. And like I just gonna say the Save the Balkans, like if we buy that land, if we get that land in Vjosa, that's a huge step. I mean, an American company buying land in Albania, it's a big step. You know, he's talking to Edi Rama on WhatsApp now, and that's pretty incredible. So in 6 years, that's a big step, and that stops a lot of dams, that saves a lot of greenery. That's huge for us. You know, getting Trump out of office, Patagonia, I'm not saying Patagonia had a hand in it, but they did massive campaigns to get rid of him. Bears Ears, which was public lands, and there was a big fight for that public land. It is now again created public land in the US, and so that was a big triumph that happened in the fall, where we were able to help in that. Obviously, everything is done with NGOs and other. You know, we're not the only ones, but there are little baby steps that are happening, and that's it makes you smile, and and we know that we're doing something good.
Agree, and it takes all of us. I mean, it takes each and every one of us to support this cause, because it's something that is nothing a company can solve. It takes all of us to get rid of injustice in every kind of way. Vanessa, again, thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful. You took the time in your busy schedule, and I know you have so much going on. Thank you. For everyone who would like to continue having conversations, now's the time to move to spatial chat. Feel free to do so. And yeah, again, keep the love coming for Vanessa. Thanks, Kirsten. So she writes, thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for caring and sharing what matters. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you all. It was amazing to meet you, and see you soon somewhere.
I will certainly look at the recording and recommend it. So I didn't get the first part, but
it's always better the questions answers. It's much better. We should just do the questions answers.
Agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for hanging in there.
Thank you very much. It was very inspiring.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.